If you want an arc build that's simple to put together and easy to make work without requiring you to run certain weapons, this is the one for you. This build utilizes Vesper of Radius, an often overlooked exotic, to essentially spam healing rifts to the point where you don't have to use your weapon. Your rift will do the killing for you. For this whole subclass tree thing, to start off, we're going to be using Pure Arc for the blinding that Vesper of Radius gains from using an Arc subclass. The super doesn't matter, you can be Goku or Palpatine, but the build doesn't require either. The two aspects we are running are Electrostatic Mind and Arc Souls, because the Rift blind kills count towards Ionic traces and so do Arc Soul kills, fueling your Rift even more. And with fragments that we'll add, we'll have more jolt options to just keep the traces rolling in. Now as I mentioned, here are the fragments we're going to run. First we're going to be running Shock for grenades jolting, pretty self-explanatory given that stupid skull aspect. Next up is Resistance because that builds into the exotic, which I will explain more later. Instinct for jolting nearby enemies when low. I thought this was just a fun one and added more jolt, but this could be changed out to whatever your little heart desires. And our last one is Ions for the second Ionic Trace from grenade or melee kills because those will be our two jolting options. For Rift and Jump, you can use whatever you want. I mean, I've never seen a build that tells you to use a certain jump, but for Rift, I won't look at you the same if you choose Empowering Rift over Healing. Next, for Melee, I chose the Groping one. I mean, you can't blame me, look at that animation. For the extra jolt and for the Ionic Traces. And moving on to the grenades, I chose Storm Grenade because I feel like this thing hits so hard. But Skip, Arc Bolt, or Pulse Nades would probably work just as well for jolting those large crowds of targets. Now that we're done with the subclass, I can already hear someone going to type, but why not just use Fallen Sunstar? Well, first off, it's stupid looking. Yeah, it looks stupid. But the real reason we chose Vesper over Sunstar is that Vesper's perk allows it to gain not only blinding and damaging with the Rift, but also that Rift regenerates faster when surrounded by enemies. This buff can increase the regeneration rate by 1500%, which means that if you're playing the game like adult, you will always have a Rift. Not only to give you Arc Souls, but to get kills for you. I mean, who needs friends when I have this silly little guy? A lot of builds have a specific mod setup that you need to run, but for this one, mods don't really matter too much. I do recommend going for max resilience and recovery because you're going to be trying to get surrounded as much as possible for rift regeneration. So if you're going to be in the thick of it, then I would say those are a good choice. I'd also say melee resist is also a good choice, and various rift mods such as Dynamo to give you increased super energy when placing your rift near targets. You're going to be doing that a lot. And proximity ward, I just love that one for the strong overshield, but they're not required to make the build flow successfully. Weapons are the same, none are required, but you could use something like Delicate Tomb for more ionic traces, or Risk Runner for the extra damage resist. Personally, I use Recluse because I think someone put glue on mine and it's stuck to my hands. That's pretty much this build. Easy, simple to use, just place your rift as much as possible. Go get 'em, Tigers.